Hey. And you're there. You're there. That's right here. I'll go to the right. Our moderator.
Hello.
Our moderator, Alan Katz. Let's hear it for Alan. Yeah.
My name is Alan Katz. I'll do a quick plug. We're the Tales from the Crypt. Over there, we're here doing Tales from the Crypt and the How Not to Make a Movie podcast. And of course, Tales from the Crypt and Killer Klowns. Wow, there's a lot in common there.
We can tell you how not to make a movie.
Well, but you guys actually made a great movie in Killer Klowns.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. Is this mic working? 35 years later, 1988, we made a movie. 35 years later, we get to be proud and brag a little with you guys.
Well, and it's because of you guys that we are here.
So first we're going to introduce everybody. So you know who I am, big deal. Let's get everybody else on this panel. Names and faces, everybody.
All right, I'm Stephen Chiodo. I'm the director and co-writer of Killer Klowns.
I'm Edward Chiodo, the uncredited writer, on the movie, and the producer. And this is my face.
There you go. And it's a lovely face.
Hi, I'm Charlie Chiodo, and I was a co-writer and production designer, and I designed the clowns.
And played Clownzilla.
I was Clown.
He is Clownzilla.
Hi guys, my name is Matt Group. I'm head of production at MGM for all of our games, and I'm the executive producer for Killer Klowns from Outer Space, the game.
Woo! And my name is John Massari. I compose the dramatic underscore music for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. And thank you all for being here, my God!
Yeah!
John wrote the music for not only the movie, but the upcoming game.
And the video game. And everyone here that's asked me when the video game is coming out, I tell them the same thing when I'm done.
You're making me nervous there, John, just like a millisecond there. All right.
The film's original title was just Killer Klowns.
That's only Transworld. Yeah. When Transworld Entertainment, who funded the film originally in the 80s, when they went to the American Film Mart, they had a poster that said Killer Klowns, and they didn't realize that it really was Killer Klowns from Outer Space. That poster had a gloved hand with 5 fingers. Little did they realize we were making monsters from outer space with 4 fingers.
Yeah, you can see that poster. It's in one of the, I think, the Arrow release. It's the giant clown hand squeezing blood out of a woman.
Ew.
We said, hey, that's not our movie.
Were you afraid in any way that people would hear Killer Klowns and think slasher movie?
Exactly. Actually, the title kind of says it all. I mean, you know what you're going to get when the title is Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Killer Klowns would have kind of misled everybody, and they would have been very angry.
Absolutely. Now, the clowns in the movie, they don't have names, except for the Clownzilla, sort of, kind of.
We called them, we had names on set.
On the set, but really it truly wasn't until later when suddenly they each had a particular name. Now, in your minds, surely they were individual clowns.
Yeah, we definitely had names for them on set. We would need to get Shorty out on set.
Right.
But actually, we didn't call them Shorty, we called them Tiny. And it's funny, this evolution, this thing that happened emerged over the popularity. The fans started coming up with the names. I mean, Shorty is an obvious name, and we love it. But like some of the other ones, it's just kind of come out of nowhere. They're very organic to either the scenes in the movie or what they did, or something totally out of the left field, something like Rudy. We still don't know where Rudy came from. Who's Rudy?
So really, the fans took the clowns and made them their own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when Funko wanted to do their product lineup, we went with the fans' names, thinking that they've already named them and loved them, so we went with that. Yeah, years ago, there was an article, about the movie in one of the fan magazines, and they mistakenly put these Bozo. They mentioned the name Bozo for one of the aliens because he had red hair and looked like Bozo the Clown. Well, of course, Larry Harmon sued Transworld, and they had to settle because they used the word Bozo, which is their beloved trademark.
Indeed. Well, but as we all know, once you create a franchise such as this, well, you don't want people messing with it.
Absolutely, I get it.
filming, you guys shot this in Central California, up in Watsonville, and then on the pier at Santa Cruz, yeah?
Yeah, we were up in Santa Cruz because, you know, the main thing about it was they have an amusement park.
Yeah.
Right on the little beach there,
Yeah.
and that was what we based the climax on. You know, a beach
Well, yeah,
amusement park.
and us coming from the East Coast, we wanted kind of that pine forest, beachside feel. You know, it's kind of what we grew up in. And also, you know, Stephen pointed out early on that we didn't want to have it take place in Hollywood because something fantastic here in Hollywood, there's always that movie connection, but something like up in like in East Coast woods, that fakery wouldn't come into play.
Yeah, no palm trees was all I requested.
There you go. Well, you got that for sure. The popcorn gun that the clowns used, that was it says it's about $7,000 to create. 6 weeks and $7,000, the most expensive prop in the production. Is it true?
Yes, that's true. What our art department did was they followed Charlie's designs and his drawings to the T, and went through a lot of expense to get it to look exactly like it. Later on, when we did the secondary background, we went to Toys R Us for our Super Soakers, and we adapted them for our alien clowns. Much cheaper and almost as good. Well, see, that's when they follow the design, you get that. We followed the popcorn design. There's two versions of the popcorn gun coming out. So I think the designs work. But what we did find is instead of spending, you know, $7,000, because you talk about one guy working on it for 6 weeks at a reasonable, you know, rate of pay. You can find existing plastic containers and toys that you can modify into really nasty and fun clown weapons.
Did you just give me a loaded gun?
That was the plan. You gotta be careful. Well, you know,
That
one thing
is
that I
so
think
cool. It is so cool.
One thing that I think is really, you know, important to talk about, right, is just how unique and identifiable all of the weapons in Killer Klowns are. As soon as you see it from across the room, you know it's from that IP, you know it's from that franchise, and that's one thing that we, you know, are really happy to take and ingest into the game is, you know, utilize all that great material.
Yeah, we tried to make it like, you know, my thinking was make it more like play school, like a play school toy. The clowns are walking around with big things, not tiny little detail, but big fun things that look like toys, but they're deadly.
Now, you guys have been brothers for a long time.
I think my entire life.
There you go.
Yeah, as long as I can remember, it was still brothers.
And yet you've worked together for a very long time too.
Yeah.
Pretty much all our lives.
Yeah, that's
We've
not
been doing
so
this
easy
all
to
our
do.
lives.
And being family almost makes it harder.
No, actually we have one brain between us, so it works really well.
There you go.
No, it's you know what it is we dispense with the you know the luxury or the politeness and manners, dealing with the pleasantries, you know, of working with people outside of the thing. Families, brothers, they deal with it in certain ways, and that's what our conference is about.
So you're able to be brutally honest with each other.
pretty much.
Well,
Pretty much.
And does that help the creative process, being brutally honest?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's brutally honest sometimes. Yeah.
I would agree. In fact,
pleasure to work with.
Yeah, I mean,
so.
again, it allows the 3 point of views to come out.
indeed, you know, it would be a lot worse if everyone kind of pussyfooted around, because then everyone's being a little dishonest, and really you're never happy with what's happening, and at some point it's going to reach critical mass. And
It was a great collaboration. We wrote the screenplay in 4 weeks.
Wow.
In 1 month. 4 weeks, 1 month. Yeah, the toughest part is trying to, you know, get all the ideas together and figure out how we can fit them into 90 minutes, basically. You know, we have to we had to delete a lot of scenes that we would have liked in the movie, and that's the toughest part. We don't get the luxury of doing a Jim Cameron 3-hour epic, you know.
Well, if I can speak up for a minute, my observation of working with the Chiodo Brothers is that they all three have that boy-like wonder and fascination with what they do, and that is what you're seeing. You're seeing an honest interpretation of the films that they that influenced them, and the passion they have for all things bizarre and creative. And there's a subtext in Killer Klowns of creativity and imagination that I think comes out with with the personality of the Chiodo Brothers.
I've got a question for you, John. Yikes!
I didn't agree to that. I didn't agree to that. Yes.
Now, when you're asked to do the score for a movie called Killer Klowns from Outer Space,
Yes.
you know, it would be very easy to go off the deep end.
I guess it would, but you know, one of my favorite films growing up was The 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T.
Oh, great.
Right?
Sure.
Dr. Seuss story about an island where a bunch of kids were forced to practice piano every day. It was the most bizarre movie. And then a few years before I saw Killer Klowns, I saw Richard Elfman's The Forbidden Zone. And I loved it. It was so bizarre and real and raw. And I go, I want to do a movie like that. And so when a friend of mine suggested, listen, I know some people are doing a film that you probably won't want to do it based on the title. And I said, what is it? Killer Klowns from Outer Space? And he goes, are you kidding? I have to be part of that. You know, so
How did you approach it musically now?
Well, first of all, when I first saw the film, I fell in love with the scene where we go to the forest and you're seeing that beautiful spaceship. You know, the movie was going on at a good clip, and then when that came up, I said, okay, I'm on board. I love this. I know that's a spaceship looking like a circus tent. And in discussing the film, the Chiodo Brothers basically said, we basically hate all the scores to all the horror movies that are out right now. And we do not want our movie to sound like anything. I don't think they hated it. They just don't want their movie score to sound like the other franchises that were out at the time. And they basically, in so many words, said you have to distinguish yourself with this film, with musical language, with your instrumentation, with your production approach, that people will, maybe they find it so bizarre and odd they won't understand it, but that's okay. And that's exactly what happened. No one understood it. Until now.
No, John.
Thanks to you guys.
John didn't look at it as a low-budget movie. He had a 76-piece orchestra in his head.
Yeah.
And he wrote, and we applaud that, and we thank him deeply.
I tend to overdo it sometimes.
You did get to record with a full orchestra at Warner Brothers Studios in 2016, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We did a version, kind of as a proof of concept.
Sure.
And then we did a whole album with orchestral music, and you know all these little reviving of the brand. I think in various ways, the love of the fans, the various merchandise and toys. I think, you know, the game coming up was inevitable.
Totally.
Yeah.
How was it working on the music for the game compared to the movie though? Was it very different or?
Oh yeah, it's extremely different. When I worked on the game, it was about like between seeing the movie, discussing it with you guys, and finishing was probably 8 weeks. I've been working on it for over 2 years now.
Wow.
So it's very different.
A lot of love and
But
attention to
I'm loving
detail.
every minute of it. It's really awesome.
By the same token, it's a great question, Matt. Taking this piece of content from the medium of a feature film into a game, how did you guys approach reformatting the story for a different medium?
Well, we were annoyed 35 years that it hadn't been recognized. We're overwhelmed by the response now. And you know what? In terms of gaming, it couldn't be a better time.
Yeah, Matt, how did they translate it?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, really, it speaks to the creative that's in the film, right? So whenever we get a new game coming in at MGM, I look at it from a game editing standpoint. What are things that are in the movie that translate well into a video game, right? And so you watch Killer Klowns, and there's people with shadow puppets eating other people. There's, you know, blocks getting knocked off, right? All of the game mechanics are built into the game, right? And so really we were able to just take all of that and translate it into the game. So you can jump super high as a clown, or you can knock block offs. That's a thing that we know feels organic to the film, but also is really, really fun to play.
Yeah, we're wondering if you're going to enjoy trying to run and escape from the clowns, or you would rather enjoy killing teenagers
As a
with
clown.
popcorn and cotton candy.
You can be the bad guy or the good guy, or really which is which. I can't even tell the difference anymore.
Right, definitely. No, I mean, like one thing that's really fun about the game, internally what we're calling it is a Killer Klowns simulator. What would happen if Killer Klowns actually came to Earth? How would you act with it? How would you react to it? And if you were the clowns, what would you do to the humans? So it's really fun to play that stuff out.
And
It sounds fantastic.
You're actually in the movie. You're actually in the movie, and you have to figure out what Mike and Debbie had to go through. You're feeling it. We understand the people that were playing the games, the professional gamers, were very anxious and nervous and frightened, having to escape from the clowns like a villain like no other.
One of my favorite stories working on the game was we were working on the environment art and building all the sets and what you're going to be running around in. And then when we showed it to you guys, instantly it was, of course, that's the bedroom. That's where that poster would be. That's where that bed would be. And so we're trying to make it as accurate as we can to the film. So when you get in there, it's really familiar. You know what you guys are going to get.
It's so great to have people on board that get it. That's the nightmare of creators, to hope that someone doesn't ruin it.
Yeah, you can really see the love that TerraVision and Ilphonic have for the original movie. So, we were honored to be, come on board as executive producers and help just, validate what they were already doing. It was just like, no, keep going, guys, you got it.
The game sounds like a terrific extension of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space experience.
Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to give it the same kind of 80s vibe that the movie delivered. And I think they captured it really well.
Sounds awesome. All right, I got one last question for you guys. We're never supposed to pick one of our babies over the others, but is there a clown, one clown you like more than the others?
Oh, well, quickly, Slim. Slim is
You're a
the one
Slim
that I
guy.
like. Slim, the shadow gig is my favorite scene. I think that really works well.
Yeah, for me, it's again based on the scene. Is probably the Jumbo, the sequence where Jumbo goes into the police station and takes on Officer Mooney, and then when Dave comes back to it, it's just it's a different movie. I love the feel of the movie from that point on.
Yeah, I like Spike because he's the scariest clown, but I gotta tell you, my favorite is Clownzilla. One, because clowns and dinosaurs are my two favorite things, and I combined them, and I also played Clownzilla. I am Clownzilla.
I want to say Clownzilla just because I feel like I'm in the presence of such greatness. I'm a Shorty man. I love Shorty. What can I say? He's my guy.
Everybody loves Shorty. He's the all-time
Give it up for
favorite.
Shorty.
Yeah.
Definitely on top of the pole.
Well, I have to say, are you asking me now? I have to say, I want to go with Shorty too, because from the fans, I got a lot of feedback. I've had on several occasions people tell me, I really identify with Shorty. Sometimes I get really. I get backed into a corner and I'm just not going to take it anymore. So I come out swinging, and Shorty is my hero. Shorty, stand up. Yeah.
One more applause for Shorty.
Hey, Shorty!
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
So, are there any questions out in the audience that people would love to pose to anybody up here? Go for it.
Hello. Was it hard to interpret comedy into a movie that's supposed to be scary in a way?
Well, actually, for us, even if we try to do the most serious, dramatic film, it always has comedy in it. So no, it's rather easy for us.
Yeah, we took the regular sci-fi and we took clowns, and we call something we call a Chiodo spin. We put a Chiodo spin on it to make it unique and fun.
And here we saw it more of like a sci-fi comedy movie, actually. But it's funny that the horror community has latched onto it and just show all this love for it. It's really amazing, and we're so grateful and thankful.
You can make a scary movie without having tons of blood. Being killed in popcorn and having the blood sucked out of you from a cocoon is pretty terrifying.
Would you define Chiodo spin?
Chiodo spin is, we take the stuff we loved before, and we don't want to just simply repeat it and copy it. We have to do a little something to it to make it ours.
Yeah, a little black comedy edge to it, a little sarcasm.
A little comic button on every kill.
Candy-coated kills.
A mantra we have when working on the game.
Yeah, and I think they captured the same kind of magic in the game as well. I mean, yeah, there's a high death count, but I think there's always a bit of a smile and a laugh when they go.
Oh yeah, what they did is something, because of the game, we found out that, we have a narrative, we're telling a story. So we did things in a certain way. The clowns could basically do, they each could do everything. They had no special skills. Because of the game, they actually accentuated specific skills per clown. So it distinguishes them one from another. They each have something special to offer, which is to me a great addition to the story.
Absolutely. Great. Please ask away.
Is there any plans for a sequel?
We've been planning for
Yes.
35 years.
I lost the bet. It was the second question.
We thought it was going to be the first, so you owe me a Diet Coke. There you go.
What's the status of a sequel? I mean, surely with increasing interest and the love of the fan base.
That's it, Alan, exactly. It's you fans are going to make it happen. Right now it's really just a cult film, but with the interest and the buying power, you've kind of proven to the powers that be that this is an IP worth investing in. So we have all the hopes in the world based on you, the fans.
And the video game coming out next year.
What we needed, in all these years, was someone like Matt sitting across the table who loved the film and saw the possibility.
That always helps.
When the pitch came in for Killer Klowns from Outer Space, it was one of those things where it was like, wait, somebody wants to begin with this? Yes, let's do that right now. And so yeah, really it's a testament to the fans and the people who love the franchise that keep it alive like this, right? So that's
It's a great opportunity to take it out of kind of like the cult status and bring it into like a mainstream pop deal with the video game, where it's gonna, I think, really have to show its mass appeal, and that could be a game changer.
Are there any other questions?
How was it like working on the movie back in the 80s? Like, how was it making the mask and overall just doing, like, working on the sets in general?
You know what, everything,
Well, let me
everything's
tweak that.
changed.
Let me tweak the question a little bit. The technology has changed from when you made the movie till now. The technology, the special effects technology.
Well, technology has changed quite a bit, but when we did make the film, it was really old school stuff, animatronic heads, and costumes, things like that. It was a lot of fun.
It was the heyday of rubber monsters, so and that was our background. So we were in a
No
great
CGI.
time in Hollywood. We had the best artists at our disposal because they were our friends. They were our partners in crime. We would work with them on other people's movies, and finally, when we had a chance to make our own movie, they lined up to help us.
There's nothing like taking over Main Street in Capitola, California, and having it invaded by 30 clowns in a giant vacuum machine.
Yeah,
it was a great, great time.
Yeah, what was difficult was the fact that you might remember something called film. We used 35 millimeter film cameras, and we had no video assist, so we had to look through the camera and sort of hope that we got it, because we would strike the set, we wait 2 days to get the dailies back from Hollywood, and then we found out if we got the shot the way we wanted it or not.
Every print was a leap of faith.
Well, it really was.
Well, I must say there's a very distinct movie experience you get from seeing a film that you have 24 frames a second flickering on the screen as opposed to like a high definition stream. It's just a different experience, and we experienced that at the drive-in last weekend, right? Where they had a pretty much a very nice clean print, and people were enjoying it at the drive-in, and I could tell, I mean, I was looking at it, I could tell it had a different feel than when you're seeing it on 4K.
Yeah, again, and the clowns were there. They were real, practical, physical things. It was funny. If we had done CG back in 1988, it would age so terribly. It would look horrible today, but the clowns look as great as they ever did.
As a fan, I think there's something about the tactile feedback that you get from seeing the actual practical effects, right? That you don't get nowadays. And so I think that's a great thing of how hard you guys worked and how amazing it holds up to today.
And we were afraid that that CG clowns might not be embraced by the fans, but Ilphonics and TerraVision did an amazing job. They got those clowns scary and funny, and I think you're going to enjoy it. We're really happy with the result.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, you know, when we were making the 3D models for the clowns, they are CG, I'm sorry, but the level of care and detail that went into this from the developers, it was really like astounding and inspiring, right? To the point where not only did they build the models of them, but inside they built how all the bones of the different clowns are. The skeletons, their guts and their, you know, their brains, what sizes they are and things like that. So really super close attention to detail, but can only be built off of the classic designs that came from the film, right?
I have seen a naked clown. It's not pretty.
You cannot unsee it. It will not see the light of day.
And their brains are like popcorn kernels.
No, and that will all be revealed if, you know, and I think, like you asked, is there going to be a sequel? If it doesn't happen with the video game and all the merchandise, it's never going to happen. So I feel real good in my gut that something's going to happen with Killer Clown.
Fans have a lot of impact on.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for keeping them alive.
Hi, you guys have had a massive impact on all of us. I can speak for like myself. Like when I watched Killer Klowns for the first time, it changed my life. When you guys first heard the Dickies song, Killer Klowns from Outer Space, what was your reaction?
We hadn't mentioned it. We hadn't had a conversation with the Dickies, and we just handed the title over to them, correct?
Yeah, no, our music supervisor, Bob Hunka, gave them like this really fun description of the movie, and then they came back with the demo, and they nailed it. I mean, I wish we could take credit for it, but we had, beyond the title and the content of the movie, it's all Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard Phillips.
Yeah.
Who, and by the way, the Dickies are performing tonight over at the 411 Theater.
Yeah, I mean,
we're getting the stage set up, the lights, the
It's
sound.
really impressive over there.
Yeah.
I believe there is a costume contest coming up, is there not?
There's always a costume.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a costume. There is a costume contest coming up.
There's a clown costume coming up.
A killer clown
A
costume
killer clown
contest,
costume.
actually. That's a tongue twister.
Let's load it all on. So I think that's what's coming up next, and I think they have the stage next. So I was just told to say thank you guys so much for coming. And
We have one surprise for the end of the panel for the people who are attending. I don't know if we're done. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me.
I was just given the look.
All right, so we actually have half an hour, so I think we could probably do a couple more questions if there's people who want to do
Great,
questions.
I think it's coming over to tell me. Oh, sorry, I thought it was giving me the eye to.
Hi, my name is Monica.
Hi.
I don't speak English very well, but I'm trying to do my best.
You're doing a great job. It's okay.
Well, I want to know how you're feeling. Like I am Mexican, so how you feeling like the movie trespassing to other countries? And I watched with her. She's a really huge fan, and I want to know how you feeling like the movie trespassing to. They go more to US. I don't know if you can get my question.
Well, I think it travels very well. I think the iconic image of our clowns, although they're aliens, they still have that iconic look that travels across all borders. And in fact, I think the biggest seller, once the English versions of the VHS was sold out, the Spanish versions just sold out of all the stores.
Yes,
so I think it was accepted very well.
There are children learning Spanish watching Killer Klowns from outer space.
Yeah, but we have a ton of fans in Germany, France, Japan. It's very popular. Yeah, so it's traveled.
Why do you suppose that is? What makes it so international?
A universal fear of clowns would come to mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's incredibly stupid.
You know, it's colorful. You know, it's got everything that's attractive. I gotta say, if it's on TV, you don't just glance at it and walk away. You look at it, then you sit down and watch the rest of it. There's something about it. It's like a phenomenon that we're just thrilled.
The only other thing I would think though also is like the designs of the clowns themselves, right, are all so unique and so different that I feel like no matter where you're from in the world, you can pick one of them and project your fears onto them and say, oh, that's one that terrifies me. So it travels great.
Are there other questions?
Yeah, I was curious, what happened to a lot of the props? Do you guys still own the props?
Well, Transworld
we thought they would be really excited about the film, so we let them keep the costumes and all the props. And we thought that maybe they would offer up to do a sequel, soon after. Well, that didn't happen, and when they dissolved the company, all the stuff sort of separated and dispersed throughout Hollywood, and we found out at different Halloweens that Killer Klowns were showing up at different Halloween celebrations in West Hollywood.
Yeah, there are a couple of key props that are out in private collector hands, but for the most part, most of the clowns just disintegrated into dust. Costumes were, thrown out with sets and things. It's just, you make the movie for the movie. It will live on in film and its DVDs.
Well, yeah, back in the 80s, there wasn't such a collectible market for movie props. All the studios, Rick Baker, Steve Johnson, the stuff was, once it was built to be shot, and it was discarded, and nobody took care of it, nobody sealed it, and the sun and the air just sort of deteriorated the rubber, and they fell apart. There are people now making a living, making actually a great living, restoring props that weren't taken care of from decades ago.
Question just went right out of my head. All right. You guys, before you made Killer Klowns, you had the chance to work with some iconic people. You worked with Sid and Marty Krofft.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because that was an amazing place. They put out some fascinating...
Two different brothers. Yeah, we were fans of the original Land of the Lost, Sid and Marty Krofft production. So we were really happy in the 90s when they revisited it and remade it. We acted as co-producers and worked on the special effects.
Yeah.
The guys were great. I mean, Sid is very creative. Marty is very businesslike, and it's like oil and vinegar. They don't really get together, but they do as far as a creative partnership. So that was a riot working with those guys.
It was Sid and Marty, icons, Hollywood icons. So it was again a dream come true. Working with childhood idols, and in a lot of ways, Sid and Marty really kind of put us on the path of being our own, being show producers. So we'll always be thankful for that.
No, I'm always grateful, to have the opportunity to work with them. I did artwork for a lot of stuff that they did. I worked with them on the Richard Pryor show. I did the conceptual artwork for that show. We designed puppets for them, and they were an inspiration to us with their suits and the way they approached their projects. So yeah, Sid and Marty was a great experience and privilege to know and work with them.
And it's funny, if you get to see them now, they're sharp as ever.
Yes.
Good
Sid
to
is
hear.
Great
to hear.
Sid is like 93, and he'll outrun me. He's just amazing. They're just both vibrant personalities.
It was really funny. Marty was driving out in his Rolls Royce, and he came up and leaned out the window and goes, "Just because I drive a Rolls Royce doesn't mean that I'm rich." And he drove.
Sir.
I think we might have a question out of the audience.
Hi, name's Caesar. I'm a big fan of your guys' work. What's the hardest scene that was on the set of film of Killer Klowns from Outer Space? Like
the hardest one?
Like the hardest scene to film.
The hardest scene of the Klowns?
The most challenging, I guess. The most challenging to actually...
The one we did 3 times?
That sounds challenging.
Well, I think getting all those clowns to fit in that tiny car was a challenge. No, the scene that the whole concept was based on, what Steven said, the scariest thing was a clown driving down a dark road and a clown pulls up next to you. He's not driving, not in a car. That was the one we tried to recreate, and making a rig and attaching him to the car so he could control moving up and back and far away from the car. But the problem was lighting the location. We had to shoot it once, and then you couldn't see, all you saw was black. You might as well have been on a sound stage. We shot it a second time, and it was too bumpy. We didn't have a steady cam. We shot it a third time, and we're gonna throw the whole thing out. But I got together with our editor, Chris Roth, and I sort of kludged the 3 takes together to make a usable. So that, to me, was the most difficult because of a lot of technical difficulties.
Carry on.
Yeah, it's funny actually. If you ever have a chance, check out our audio commentary on the DVD and Blu-ray and stuff. It actually kind of highlights the problems of making that movie. It was just one issue after another, just low budget filmmaking at its best. But it was, we got through it and have a cool movie.
Talking about challenges, what were the challenges of making the game?
We never made a game. What are the challenges?
I mean, games are full of challenges. That's really the honest truth, right? But really, I think some of the challenge for the game is really picking what creative from the source material we're putting into the game, right? Because there's so much in there. You don't want to overwhelm the player. You want it to be nice bite-sized chunks, but you don't want to feel shortchanged either, right?
What guided your decision making then, in terms of what to include and what to?
I think a lot of it comes down to, again, what I was saying before of a game-etic quality. If what's in the film translates well to game design, because if the game can be beautiful, but if it's not fun to play, no one's going to play it, right? So you kind of have to do that. But then also, I think just some of the things that the fans would come to expect, like key iconic locations, key weapons, like we were talking about before. So really, like, picking the things that work well for a game, but then also what fans would expect is kind of the bread and butter there.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything, really, but the cinematography. The cinematography in the game, the mood, the fog, the contrast and lighting and the moonlighting is so much better than what we shot in the movie. We were on a quick budget, a short time frame, 6 weeks. We had to shoot the whole thing, very difficult shoot. But what they did with the game is they just enhanced the beauty and the mystery and the
What was your budget on this movie?
The movie was $2 million. Yeah. Before I forget, the thing is, like, one of the things I'm most looking forward to is when the game comes out, being able to play online with and against you guys.
I should ask, what's the budget of the game? Because I'm sure the budget of the game is way more than the budget of the movie.
That's one of the
I haven't a clue.
7 banned questions.
Indeed, but as just a creative person wandering in the dark.
I don't even know how much games. I don't know how much it costs to do a game. I can't imagine. With the amount of talented people and the equipment,
priceless.
I can't imagine. It's not a $2 million job. I'll tell you that.
Oh, surely no. But it's a testament that Killer Klowns from Outer Space has been deemed worthy by our corporate.
Yeah, that's the biggest boost for us. The fact
that it has value.
MGM has embraced us, and Ilphonic and TerraVision and Matt there. You guys have guided us through, and it's really a real compliment. Something that we loved. We just made a film that we wanted to watch. The fact that the fans enjoyed it and embraced it, and the fact that MGM has embraced it as well, is a real tip to the hat.
And I think the fact that you have a great executive in Matt, that helps so much. To have an executive who understands not just what you've done, but what you want to do with it.
Yeah, everything happens in its own time, and the timing is perfect now.
Here. Here's the timing.
Absolutely, because the game is grown in interest over generations. I just said hi to a dad back there who his son just celebrated his 6th birthday. And he's the biggest Killer Clown fan in the world.
Yeah, there's the 4th generation. There are great grandfathers who are going to be playing Killer Klowns video game with their great grandchildren.
And that's the thing I think that kind of makes it worth it for games, right? Like, I worked on games for about 20 years at this point, but when you get multiple generations playing the game together and it becomes kind of these core memories, for the family, I think that's super important for games, and also important for film, right? And so because we already have that with the film that you guys made, I'm really looking forward to seeing that happen with the game as well when it comes out.
And you know what's really strange is, like, thinking about Killer Klowns the game, and the property, the intellectual property, will go on far beyond any of us. It's going to be around longer than we are.
Isn't that the point of the exercise? And now why we do it is to outlive ourselves. Indeed. Are there any other questions out there in the audience?
Just wanted to say you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything. I have a question about the rating of the movie. Like a lot of people I saw when I was a little bit younger, I was probably not even 13 years old, like 11 or 12. And it was accepted, like nobody in my household thought it was a bad thing. The rating of the movie is PG-13. Do you guys feel like that helped, the rating helped with helping it become a cult classic, or do you think it would have been just as good.
You know, if it was in G, it might not have done as well. PG is only because there's some profanity, which I wince at. It didn't need to, but it sort of helped it from being just a G, which kid didn't. You would have basically the audience would have seen it as a Disney movie, a G. So the PG helped in a larger audience.
Well, it was PG-13. Yeah, no, I think there's a certain aspirational aspect to that younger kids want to see older kids' movies. So I think that's a part of it. And then, hell, back in the 80s, it was HBO, cable TV down in the basement where your parents are sleeping, watching whatever the hell you want.
Well, that's funny. Nobody, you know, we wouldn't let our kids watch when my kids were younger. Wouldn't let them watch South Park, so they went over to their friend's house and saw it.
You just can't win. I love the pizza box. The pizza box is, to me, that's so delightful.
It's an impossible game.
Why do you say that?
No, it's impossible because, you know, it's you don't think about it, but how the hell did a clown fit in the pizza box?
Because they're clowns, that's why.
Well, it is a stack.
And that's the great thing about the clown universe. There's nothing impossible because they say, how'd they do that? But they're clowns, that's why.
That's one of my favorite quotes that we get from you guys in calls. But it's because they're clowns. Of course it's because they're clowns.
And it's a great answer when you're stumped.
Do you guys have a favorite kill from the movie?
Yeah, again, to me, the shadow gag was my favorite scene in Kill. It comes out of left field. You don't really know what to expect, and it's so absurd, so surrealistic, the entire piece. So, I guess as a clown gag, as a clown kill, that's my favorite.
Well, you know what? With that, you know, when you say, okay, the shadow became real and ate the people, the bus, you know, passengers. He put them in the bag full of popcorn, and you can only read into that the popcorn was alive and was eating those people. Think about it.
Maybe. Yeah, you know, for me, it's you're not going to make a dummy out of me. What are you going to made a dummy? That's it.
Okay, my favorite kill is the kill that every single person misses. They don't see it, and it's right in front of you. It takes place in the first reel of the movie when the girls emerge from the back of the ice cream truck and talk to the Terenzi brothers. They kill any chance those guys have getting lucky.
But bum.
Oh, then there's Pooh Bear.
Oh my God, that was the saddest one.
For people who do ask what happened to Pooh Bear, when Mike and Debbie go in the spaceship, you'll go see them when they go in the cocoon room. There's a big cocoon hanging there, and right next to it there's a little cocoon.
When he didn't escape,
we killed the dog.
And we haven't shown yet what happens to the people that were taken alive in the balloons.
Oh, nice.
Aside from the sequel, which obviously is coming up, what's in the future?
Right now, the only thing I'm thinking about is the game. I am practicing. So I'll be able to get online and challenge you guys.
You're gonna go compete?
Yeah, it'll be the Chiodo Brothers against whomever.
Sounds
like a challenge.
It's a horrible feeling to be walking around watching out for clowns and then seeing a pink glow and realize you're being cocooned from behind.
I mean, really, you know, selfishly, I think the game is kind of the next big thing coming out. But like, we shouldn't shortchange all the amazing consumer products that are coming out too. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have been to Spirit Halloween recently, but it's like all over the place, right? Or you see Funko Pops. So I think that's like really nice kind of appetizers to keep us all fed while we're waiting for the game and anything else that comes down the road, right?
The thing about the merchandising is we have something here that it appeals to the horror fans and the little ones, the middle and the little ones. There's merchandise for everybody.
Even your pets.
Yeah, they got stuff for the pets. So it's one of those unique pieces of merchandising that's not restricted to chainsaws, but you have backpacks, knapsacks, lunch boxes, you know, props, jewelry, pins. It's just, and you know, I saw the list of what's coming out. There's amazing stuff that everyone's gonna want in their house.
One more question?
Leading back to the popcorn, how did you guys come up with the idea of adding those live
snake-looking clowns that grow out of the popcorn.
That was our we based it on the Jack in the Box. We wanted something that would, you know, wherever the popcorn was planted, those things would pop out like a Jack in the Box.
Yeah, we call them the popcorn clowns.
Yeah, again, it all started in our brainstorming sessions during the writing of the film. We just started thinking, okay, we want to have something happen here. Let's think of a circus motif or a carnival gag, and popcorn comes up. So what do you do with popcorn? Well, we put it in a gun, you can shoot it. Yeah, but what happens to the popcorn? They become like these little spores that follow them. Then they turn into these Jack in the Boxes. So it kind of grows from, again, a circus motif.
To be corny, they pop out of everything.
But I'm bummed.
If I could, if you humor me for a second. We have a very young fan here that just celebrated his 7th birthday. Aaron.
Happy birthday.
Aaron, happy birthday.
Look at that little clown.
Wow.
Round of applause for Aaron, guys.
Yeah. Yay.
And that's why I designed that gun like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome looking. Wow.
Very cute. Look, thank you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Watch out where you aim that thing.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, go for it. Come on up. Ask it here. What's your question?
Why cotton candy for the cocoons? Like, why cotton candy?
Because they're clowns, that's why.
No, it's cotton candy is one of the first things you think of one of two things, is popcorn and cotton candy at the circus.
Yeah, and what do you do with cotton candy in the context of, let's say, Killer Klowns? It harkens back to some of the science fiction films that inspired us when we were younger. And The Beast from the Haunted Cave, a Roger Corman film, had people that are kind of wrapped up in cocoons from a giant spider thing. And then also Aliens, Ridley Scott's Alien. Those people were in cocoons. So it's really a tribute to the films that inspired us to make movies.
And if you think about how they make cotton candy, that's spinning around, and you put the thing in there and it wraps like a web around it.
Yeah,
so all those elements come together.
Since cotton candy will kill you with the amount of sugar that you're ingesting, so we thought it was a pretty deadly weapon.
Cautionary tale, is that?
Since you mentioned it, what films did inspire you?
Oh, well, if you're fans of 50s and 60s, the entire film is really the through line of The Blob, the original Blob with Steve McQueen. You can kind of tell. And then there are other icons of film.
The Forbidden Planet, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. What we did, we took the things that we loved, the movies we watched and loved. We didn't want to do the exact same thing. We just wanted to do a copy, so we gave it the Chiodo spin.
Yeah, the power chamber that they discover inside the spaceship. That arcs right back to Forbidden Planet, a sci-fi movie from the 60s.
And that might be the reason, because it's familiar with movies you're all familiar with. There's something new but familiar, and I think that adds to the wide love.
And also Warner Brothers. I mean, there was a cartoon Warner Brothers with Daffy Duck as Duck Tracy, and he was looking for Neon Noodle, the bad guy. Well, as he's looking for these bad guys, he sees these footprints on the floor. One, another, then he goes into a room and they're all over the place. That's a direct lift, because I thought that was so funny. I said, that's never really been brought into a live action film, so let's do it.
Yeah, well, you know, the lifting is paying homage to the stuff that used to make us laugh and the things that stayed with us. It gave us our sense of humor. The characters were inspired by all the Jay Ward, and the Warner Brothers artists, Bob Clampett, Chuck Jones. All that stuff stays in you, and then you let it come out in a new way. It's just like, you know, just the stuff that you love stays with you, and you want to share it.
When you create characters like these and they get underneath your skin, you start to think like them. When I worked on Tales from the Crypt for a decade, I wrote every word the Crypt Keeper ever said. And I still, it makes me crazy. Because I still think of those horrible, horrible puns.
You are the Crypt Keeper. You are.
And looking more like him every day, but that's my problem. Do you guys find yourselves thinking like the clowns?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't walk down the street or go someplace without seeing like a circus motif, clown motif, mind motif that just kind of, oh wow, how would that play into, you know, a clown movie, or, you know, like if somebody's getting their house is tented for fumigation, that's not fumigation, that's a clown invasion happening.
You know what? You have to think like a clown. That's what's important. Think like a clown. And if you want to avoid them, you want to survive them, you can anticipate by thinking like a clown.
That's the mantra I say to myself in the mirror every morning, by the way. Just think like a clown, man. That's what you got to do.
Better yet, think like a killer clown from outer space.
It's very deep.
Any final questions from anybody?
In the front, yeah.
You go for it.
So I was hoping you could settle the debate between my girlfriend and me. At the end of Killer Klowns, who does Debbie wind up with? Because Dave is a little handsy, but Mike is kind of there too.
Debbie has been asked that question. Suzanne Schneider was asked that question.
Well, from my point of view as a director, I think at the end of this horrible experience with clowns, I think Debbie wanted somebody more stable and reliable, and I think it's Dave.
Look who, when Dave shoots the balloon and pops her out of it, who does she go to?
Yeah, that's what it's an interesting love triangle. I think she may have gone back to Dave for a while, and I always wondered why he decided, as smart as he was, why he decided to use a revolver to pop the balloon when he could have done it with a knife or maybe his key.
It was a tough balloon.
Who just won the bet? So you won the bet? Well done, bravo.
Debbie's going for stability.
Yeah, you didn't want to go over with Mike Tobacco, I'm telling you.
And that was the great line in the movie.
That doesn't end well.
Yeah.
What did you just win?
Dave said it. She goes for laughs, not stability.
As you guys look around at other horrors, is there anything that pops in your head that you think, wow, I love that?
Oh, contemporary horror films?
Sure.
Well, the most frightening film I've ever seen was Fatal Attraction. But besides that, It Follows, I think, is a really great film. And Hereditary.
Yeah, I'm really digging some of the South Korean, Train to Busan, those type of movies.
Yeah, there's not one that stands out. I haven't seen a horror movie that has the flavor. I like Men in Black. I thought that had a great flavor. It dealt with aliens and comedy, a beautiful mix. I haven't seen one like that. The scary movies. Smile is scary. In terms of horror and stuff.
Do you remember the first time a movie ever scared you?
Oh wow!
House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill.
The original black and white.
William Castle version.
Robert Wise's The Haunting. Still one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
You know what? We went to see. We saw the ad in the paper. House on Haunted Hill. Dad, I want to see the movie. Well, you sure you don't want to go see Tugboat Annie? It's playing on it. No, Dad, we want to see House on Haunted Hill. So we took to see House on Haunted Hill. When they went down in the basement. Whenever they went down in the basement, I was saying, Dad, I want to go out. Can I go in the lobby? He goes, no, you made me take it. You sit here and watch it.
The first horror thing. So there was a show called Tales from the Dark Side that was around for a long time, right? And so, true fact, my mom is an actress, and she was in an episode of that where she played Lucille Ball. And some guy comes and steals Little Ricky, who's her son. And so, of course, my mom shows me this episode when I'm the exact same age as Little Ricky, and she's playing that. So ever since then, it was okay. I can't watch that type of stuff.
John,
with me, it's two actually. It's The Haunting and oh my God, the Jack Nicholson, The Shining. Shining, which is a masterpiece, absolutely.
You know what? The scariest movie for me, the scariest movie that I've seen, was The Exorcist with Linda Blair, who's here.
Only once. I only saw it once.
That's still.
I concur.
Yeah, that scared the hell out of me, and it stayed with me.
I was watching that last night on network television. Don't watch it on network television. It's not a good movie with everything cut out.
Oh yeah. That would ruin it. Exorcist. Yeah. What's the point? What's the point?
There's a new one coming out too, right? The new Exorcist.
it gets in.
I
yeah.
think there is a costume contest coming up right now.
Yeah, coming
so
up now.
Thank you guys so much for spending the time and sharing your
Thanks,
experience.
Thank you all.
And for as a special treat, right, for HorrorCon LA is right after this panel, give it 5 minutes, check the HorrorCon LA Instagram page. We're going to be unveiling 2 never-before-seen screenshots for the game as an exclusive for the panel and for the convention. So thank you guys so much for coming by. Really appreciate it.
Also, if I may, at 6 p.m. the doors open to the Darkest Carnival, a musical celebration. 35 years of Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I'm going to express some music, and then we're going to top off the evening with a set from the Dickies.
Wow, excellent.
Really cool, really cool.
Another door.
And hey, join me back here on the platform in about an hour. We'll be doing a Tales from the Crypt panel. We're going to talk about, the first time we're going to talk about nudity and what it was like doing nudity on Tales from the Crypt. So come join us for that in a little while. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.